plus Subaru coming with 2 extra drivers like Possum Boone and Richard Burns, so I think it's going to be by far the best entry in the championship.
And for the locals, Asia Pacific champion Possum Bourne was the star attraction in the new Subaru.
It takes just a little while to get total confidence with it, and I'm not prepared to sort of stick my neck out too far until I know what it's going to do if I get a bit wide and that type of thing, so it just takes time.
And after a warm, friendly Māori welcome, the cars were off the ramp and on the road. Juha Kakinen gets us underway in the 94 Rothmans Rally of New Zealand. Expert comments from former New Zealand national champion Neil Allport.
Yes, Juha's been with the birth of this car since it started in Group A in 1987, so he's
very good driver, and he's really pumping it up here today through this tight, twisty part of the course, getting it set up over the top of the hill now.
This is very, very narrow up here, Clint. It's very, very wet underfoot. I'm picking that some of the drivers are going to get out on the grass if they get a bit wide.
Beautiful conditions today for the drivers, but a little bit slippery with the overnight rain. And this is the tight part of the course.
Juha's driving exceptionally well there at the moment. He's keeping the car right down the middle. He's not getting wide. Very, very steady.
And a lot of respect for this change in the course here too, because he used to go up and over the dipper, but as you'll see, round the sweeper and over that bank, and your Gonberger down into a fence. And if that's the world champion, showing how difficult this stage could be, we've got some great things to come.
Yes, certainly. If that's an indicator of how this stage is going to go, we're in for some action here.
Stage times last year around about the 1:13, 1:14 mark. Let's take a look at the finish. 1:24.1 for Juha Kakinen. And through the muddy gates, setting it up for the run-up and over the top of the hill. Derek Ringer is co-driver, 25-year-old Scott, son of Jimmy, the British champion 5 times. Super quick. So Colin McRae with the 555 Subaru Impreza. Turning it on for the fans here, down to the finish. 1:24.1 was the time for the first car on the road. Kakinen, what time can McRae do down to the finish? 1:23.7. Biasion plants the boot.
Mickey started this event very fast last year, was right up there for the lead, but unfortunately crashed early in the event, so he'll be looking to improve on that this year.
Crashed on stage 4 at Raglan, and that's only the 3rd time out of 75 rallies he's not finished an event, which is a pretty amazing record for a guy who's very consistent but struggling with a car that's had problems this year. He needs a change of luck, and he's pumped up for it.
Yes, he's always been a very, very solid performer, Mickey, but yes, last year having a few problems with the new Ford Escort, but certainly this year he's had some good solid performances, so maybe he's back on track for a good result here.
1:23.7 was the time for Colin McRae, and Mickey Biasion is not going to get there. In fact, he's going to be slower than both McRae and Kakinen, a 1:28.3, so a cautious start by the Italian. And he lets it loose in the Lancer now. Klaus Fischer is co-driver, off to a pretty respectable start. The smallest of the 4 factory teams, the Mitsubishi Lancer team, run by England and rugby I should say.
Armin's a very, very fast driver, very fast indeed, and I think we'll be seeing a real performance from him on this event this year.
He's the man you're picking as a bit of a surprise package, a rocket to watch.
Yeah, he's my dark horse in the field here. Not having been here before, maybe there's got to be a bit of a question mark over him.
Whoa, just a little bit wide there.
It's certainly starting to get a bit slippery on a couple of those corners. I think we're going to see more of the other competitors get wide as well.
1:23.7 has been the quickest time so far, and Schwartz comes in at 1:26.4. And just listen to that crackle of the turbo of the Celica.
Didio's currently the fastest driver on the World Championship this year, with 38 stage wins to his credit. Definitely a man on a mission here.
67 points so far on the World Drivers' Championship. He's only 5 points behind Carlos Sainz. And let's take a look at his lines as he comes through the gate. Whoa, just almost up onto 2 wheels there. One of those ruts.
Yeah, I think there's a bit too much of an adrenaline rush going on here at the moment.
And I tell you what, this end part of the first stage here at Totara Park, it's a hell of a lot more difficult than you think, but still pretty respectable. 1:27. Now, the man It so far has been in a continual dogfight. Carlos Sainz, double world champion and a triple champion here in the Rothmans Rally of New Zealand. He's really been having a great duel against Didier Auriol.
Yes, Carlos is currently the second fastest driver on stage wins in the World Championship this year. He's won 34 stages, not a lot behind Auriol, so there's obviously going to be a great scrap on here for supremacy.
The man who currently leads the World Drivers' Championship with 72 points, Carlos Sainz. Great shots there.
Yes, this is looking like a great run from Carlos. I think he's going to put in a good time here.
It seems that most of the drivers are pretty quick and smooth through this part of the course. Now it becomes a lot more challenging.
Yeah, well, some of these top drivers now, they've done this first part of the course last year, of course, so when they're getting around to this new bit, they're just a little bit cautious of that.
A little bit slippery in there.
You can see the clay starting to come out of the road there. I think that corner's going to get very chopped up.
Now, smooth, as you can see there, the ruts just that corner a hell of a lot more difficult than the drivers actually think, and they are taking a bit more of a cautious approach.
Yes, that corner's very hidden there as they come through those trees and drop down into it, so it's posing a few problems.
All the hard work, the testing, the hours of preparation. Now it's down to the finishing by the drivers, and 125.8, so Carlos Sainz. Crowd getting a good shot as they come down and over the bank. There's been a bit of agricultural sort of cornering around that part of the circuit.
Certainly they all seem to be having some trouble getting through those two trees there. Obviously it's getting very, very slippery, throwing the car up the bank.
And with plenty of rain around Auckland over the last week or so, it's going to be a demanding day one for the Rothmans Rally of New Zealand. Down to the finish, Ari Vatanen, 128.3. Kenneth Eriksson now in the Mitsubishi Lancer, the second of the works team. Can he work up a bit of a score for the Rally Art Lancers?
Now Ken is a very, very good driver in the wet, so these conditions will be suiting him, I'd say, a little bit better than some of the other drivers. He's done a lot of driving in two-wheel drive cars, and he knows what it takes to keep a car on the road in the wet with no grip.
He's performed pretty well in the past in RAC events in England, so as you say, he knows what it's like to drive in the rain. 123.7, Colin McRae, still the quickest on the first stage for 94. And now Eriksson, a 127.5. So Fujimoto is not going to challenge Colin McRae's time. He'll just be settling out the nerves. And he almost takes out the finishing gate. Oh, sideways, 129.8. Next up, the man the Kiwis love to see, Possum-born and Tony Zircum. This is the guy who started off in life as Peter. Now they call him Possum. Let's see what he can do today in the Subaru. New co-driver, Tony Zircum, who's won the '89 Asia Pacific Championship with Wright Millen before. Of course, he's the current Asia Pacific champion too, Possum-born, on his home turf.
Yes, Possum will be looking for a good stage here. He was very, very quick on this stage 2 years ago. I think he almost won it and took the rally lead right from the very start. Yes, Possum's putting in a good drive here. He's keeping the car very tidy. He won't be wanting any problems this early in the rally.
I tell you what, this is looking like a pretty quick time for Possum. Let's see if he can challenge his teammate at Subaru, 123.7 for McRae, and Possum down to the line, a 124.9. That's an excellent start. So this is Richard Burns, the British Rally Champion. Welcome to NZ, Richard. Here's a bit of Kiwi mud for you. Down to the finish now. And a very respectable start. 126.3 for Richard Burns in the Subaru. Also out on the course is the current New Zealand national champion. Here's the ex-Pro Drive legacy of Joe McAndrew. Is our national champion. Joe McAndrew lets the mud rip down to the line. So Brian Stokes, he's got the Ford Escort nicely painted up with a fire engine red this year. Jeff Judd is co-driver, down to the line, a 132.7 for Stokesy. And he's taken the gate, 10 points for Puras. That's our first three-sport player of the day, I think. And now here's the Kiwi guy from Hawke's Bay, Chris Joblin, car number 20. He's in a Group A Lancer this year.
That's right, Clint. Chris is looking for a lot more power this year, so he's moved into Group A. He's looking for a good performance here. Unfortunately, his championship bid has not got off to a really good start, but I think he's going to redeem himself a little bit here on this rally. And he's having real problems there. He's around the other side of the sign.
Rosenberger, almost Goldberger there in the slippery sliding mud at Totara Park. Oh, Brian Watkin. Just a bit of a bumpy finish. Yeah. Stage 2, Juha Karkinen shows why he's got the nickname the Flying Finn. And with the stage at Spring Hill slightly shorter this year, he sets a new record time of 2 minutes 31 seconds. The current world champion is closely followed by double world champ Carlos Sainz from Spain, just seconds behind in the Subaru. Sainz finished second to Oriol in Argentina by just 6 seconds and wasn't about to let another Toyota get an early break. And after winning the first stage, McRae was fourth fastest through the 5 kilometre stage at Spring Hill. Just 5 seconds off the pace set by Karkinen. Overall, a total of 17 drivers beat the old Group A record for the stage of 2 minutes 51 seconds, including Didier Auriol. And the Ford Escort of Mickey Bersion. His time of 2 minutes 41 put him back in ninth, 10 seconds slower than the leading Toyota. Top New Zealand driver Possum Bourne gets the thumbs up from a local fan on the roads where the Kiwi learned to drive rally cars. Special Stage 3, another 5k sprint through the mud at Mystery Creek, and Karkinen wins his second stage in a row. His time of 4 minutes 2 seconds sets another record for the Finn as he turns it on for the fans. But things weren't looking or sounding so good for Bersion, struggling to stay in the top 10 with a loss of power. No problems though for Oriol, just 1 second behind his teammate. Sadly, New Zealand driver Chris Joblin became the first casualty of the event. Joblin hit these huge ruts and flipped his Group A Lancer out of the rally. Special Stage 4, the Waitatuna Valley, 16 kilometres of fast-flowing gravel roads. Now the shakedown was over, the race was on. Karkinen's lead was under pressure. Carlos Sainz flung the Subaru sideways, and even though the stage was just over a kilometre longer than before, he breaks the old record set by Ari Vatanen 2 years ago with a time that was 48 seconds quicker. Carlos won the stage with a time of 8 minutes 56 seconds, and suddenly 2 world champions were tied for the lead as they raced for the regroup at Manu Bay near Raglan. Right behind Sainz, the familiar sign of the Toyota Celica of Didier Auriol. The Frenchman won his second rally of the year by beating the Spaniard by an incredible 6 seconds in the Rally of Argentina. It was an amazing dogfight. Now they were at it again, this time racing around the farmland in New Zealand. Oriol tied as the second fastest on the stage with the escort of Ari Vatanen, both just 4 seconds behind Sainz. Vatanen's performance in the Ford Escort had the local New Zealand fans, nicknamed Kiwis, racing back to 81 when the Finn won the World Championship also for Ford. Just 5 seconds slower, Colin McRae keeping a close eye on his title. The 2 Mitsubishi Lancers driven by the German Armin Schwarz and Sweden's Kenneth Eriksson had settled into their own pace, a private duel for 7th and 8th. After testing in Wales and tyre testing in Greece, the Lancer Works team from Rugby in England was still trying to find the right formula for conditions in New Zealand. Just 1 second separated the 2 teammates on stage 4, with Eriksson having a slight advantage after driving here before in 86 and 87 for Volkswagen. Next stop, the regroup at Manu Bay, near New Zealand's top surf beach of Raglan. Nice day for a day at the beach, is it?
Yeah, I'm just contemplating having a go in a surfboard here.
Well, how's it going in the rally car and the Subaru?
Good, no problem, just fairly steady. We had problems in the last stage with just too much gravel on the road. The cars behind were getting a bit faster, but that's part of the thing in this rally and some of the stages, so but no problem.
But one team just glad to be racing was the team of Greg Graham and Jim Robb. Their gear was stolen 2 days before the rally. While everything but the tools was returned on start day, the young 21-year-old was still off to a nervous start, but doing well early on in Group N. While Brian Watkins' Group N Subaru and Impreza was sending out the smoke signals with a blown turbo, at least his car was still going, unlike the Subaru of Carlos Sainz, out with a blown head gasket. And for the second year in a row, the Whangaa Coast had claimed the leader in the Drivers' Championship. Last year, Mickey Viession. Now it was Carlos days for the Spaniard. That eased the pressure on Juha Karkkonen, but not for long. In the distance, Colin McRae. He may have had a year like a horror movie on the rest of the World Championships, but there's something special about McRae and rally roads in New Zealand. The defending champion was now on the charge. He won the stage and opened up a 20-second lead. Meanwhile, Mickey Viession's chances didn't look good, still struggling with engine problems in the Ford Escort. Armin Schwartz fast in the Lancer, but struggling to get the right choice of tyres. Didier Uriel off to another solid top 3 start. Right behind him, Ari Vatanen, replacing Francois Delacour in the Escort team. And with 2 top 5 finishes so far this year in Greece and Argentina, the Finn was already up in the top 5 again. And he even gave the young British driver Richard Burns a bit of advice on how not to do a U-turn at high speed.
Yes, sure. Car was sideways, and normally a four-wheel drive it straightens itself when you just accelerate out of the situation. And this just wouldn't, and then it turned the other way around at the very low speed, and so I was 90 degrees first facing left, then facing right, and there I stopped in the middle of the road, 100 meters on a straight piece of road after long corner, after a corner, so like a driving school pupil, and there I was, you know, slowly reversing and turning around. I lost half a minute. I couldn't believe it. Anything can happen, honestly.
Local star Possum Bourne has always been very quick around these local roads. Last year 6th overall and the win in the Asia Pacific Championship. But this year, his race in the Subaru Impreza ended early. Just one mistake, and that was it for the Kiwi. Down and out in the ditch.
We were coming into the corner fine, sliding around the corner, and where it tightened up, the camber of the road changed a lot. As we were pulling it back straight, moving along the road, the front wheels touched the mud and the grass on the edge on the inside, and as soon as it touched that, it just sucked it over because there was not much room.
And also down and out on his luck, Jesus Puras, the world leader in the Group N Championship. He also crashed out of the rally along the Whangaa Coast. So Special Stage 5 had claimed the leader in the championship for Group A, for Group N, and also for Asia Pacific. Once again, it was living up to its reputation as one of the most demanding pieces of road on the rally. Back in the pack, the 2 Mitsubishi Lancer Evolutions of Sweden's Kenneth Eriksson and the German Armin Schwartz continued their private battle for 7th and 8th, continually swapping stage times just seconds apart. The Mitsubishi team may be the smallest of the 4 factory teams in terms of budget, but certainly not horsepower. And although the Evolution 2 looks a far superior model than last year's, a lack of testing prior to the rally here in New Zealand means they were struggling to really crack the top 5. The 4th car in the Subaru team driven hard by the British champion Richard Burns, while the ex-Pro Drive legacy of McAndrew was now close behind. And in the non-service areas, a chance for the drivers to check the cars and check their times.
We have to now, I think more for the team than ourselves and try and get 2 cars to the finish.
Well, we ran over a piece of rock in the middle of the road and then the center bearing on the propeller shaft. So we're trying to get it well, this is no surface area, so it's just unlucky that our crews are not here. We just have to, well, go slowly, and hopefully on the next service hall we can repair it.
But repairs were the last thing on the mind of Colin McRae. In fact, he was the man doing the damage, winning stages 5, 6, 8 and 9, all in record time. And while the rest of the field was quietly falling apart, McRae had taken control and was about to extend his lead past 20 seconds. Driving hard and fast, the Frenchman Didier Auriol exciting the fans in third place. Auriol finished third here last year, but was determined to do better in 94. Karkinen lost time with a spin along the coast, as you can see by the wobbly headlight. And after his little spin, Vartinen was also trying to pick up the pace again. Running in the top 4 now, but still 30 seconds behind Colin McRae. And as night fell and the cars raced back to Rotorua in the darkness, the safety car shed a bit of light on how not to take a corner. But the man with the flashing lights in front was Colin McRae. He won the last stage of the day, which made it 6 wins out of 11, and that meant a handy 43-second lead. Auriol second fastest on the stage, just 2 seconds behind McRae. 16 seconds separated the top 6 drivers, so it was no wonder Schwartz's brakes were blazing, third fastest on special stage 11. And keeping the international drivers honest, Joe McAndrew, now the leading Kiwi driver, 9th place overall. And moving up to take the lead in Group N, the Australian Ed Ordinsky. So at the end of day 1, Colin McRae had the field at his mercy, a 44 car-breaking material in the rugged mountains. Last year, Colin McRae set a new record for the Motu stage. This year, with the combination of the new Impreza and the new Pirelli tyres, he was simply awesome. Even the Fords couldn't stop him. And using the Impreza's speed advantage in the tight, twisty corners, McRae smashed his old record from last year by 36 seconds. His new time of 37 minutes, 21 seconds completely nailed the two Toyotas. If the Whangar Coast was the killer, the Motu stage would be the decider. McRae won both. And once again, for the second year in a row, the 25-year-old from Scotland had mastered the toughest stages in the rally and set himself up for victory.
I'm not sure what the other times are, but I think we're faster. I hope it goes all the way to the end.
So what's the plan now? Are you going to ease up at all or not?
We'll see what the times are now, but yeah, but we're not, I'm not taking any chances, so it's just going really well.
So you like the motor, huh?
Yeah, it's been good to me.
Didier Uriel went flat out right from the start. In fact, his time of 37 minutes 46 was just 25 seconds slower than McRae. And that meant Uriel moved up into second place. But it was still a frustrating fast drive for the Frenchman because he was going flat out, but he still couldn't catch the Scotsman. By the end of the stage, the lead now for Colin McRae was 1 minute 35 seconds. Uriel's teammate Juha Karkinen spun early on in the stage. In fact, he lost exactly a minute on McRae. Karkinen's time was 38 minutes 21 seconds, and that meant he had now slipped back to third place behind his teammate. By the time the two Toyota drivers hit the service at the end of the Motu stage, their reaction, well, fast, but not fast enough.
Didier, how was the Motu this morning for you?
Not bad, but not enough fast compared to McRae.
Yeah?
No, I mean the car must be really good. There is no chance on the twisty road. On the fast road we are okay, almost equal, but on the twisty one, a day behind.
And what do you think about McRae's performance again?
Very good. Nothing to say about. Good.
Okay.
Now, if one driver really wanted to finish this Motu stage, it would have to be Ari Vatanen. Last year, he was leading the rally driving for the Subaru Legacy team, but suddenly engine problems meant he was parked on the side of the road, out of the rally, while in the lead. Now, he was back and determined to finish for Ford. But just at the start of the stage, he lost power steering, which meant escorting the Ford around here, the toughest, most demanding stage of the rally, turned out to be a real handful for the Flying Finn. Vartanen's time of 38 minutes 40 seconds put him back in 4th place overall, 3.5 minutes behind Colin McRae. But at least this time he got to the finish. 3rd fastest on the stage, Richard Burns, 38 minutes and 8 seconds, a top drive for his first time through the Motu. And he got some good advice too from Colin McRae. McRae's advice to the young British driver was, just take it nice and neat. If you stuff up one corner, you'll stuff up the next 4. Another first timer, the German Armin Schwarz. He lost time on the stage. And as you can see in the Lancer, he also had some parking problems, with the parking light hanging out by the front. 38 minutes 50 the time for Schwarz, put him back to 6th overall. Last year the Kiwi driver Joe McAndrew spun out just before the finish of the stage. This time he got there without too many hassles. A time of 40 minutes 25 seconds moved him up to 8th place overall, and he increased his lead over Brian Stokes to 6 minutes in the battle to be the first Kiwi home. Not bad, considering he also made the wrong choice of tyres, a hard compound which weren't even warm by the time he'd finished the stage. But at least he got through, unlike Mickey Biasion, parked out on the side of the road with a blown engine.
The car was not pushing a lot since the start of this rally, but I was going better this morning. The engine was working a little bit better, but a piston probably has dead. So.
Special stage 15, Whakaurau, 32 kilometres. If the drivers thought the Motu stage was tough, then this may be quicker, but still just as demanding. McRae wins the stage by 8 seconds from Oriel. And while McRae was going for it, the other British driver, Richard Burns, was simply going home after losing control and crashing out of the rally.
The back wheel just got out of the ruts where the grip is onto the loose stuff. It's about 5th gear coming down the hill here. It dropped into a ditch on the right, flicked it over to the left and hit a rock fairly well, hard enough to break all the rear suspension and throw us into the ditch here.
So disappointment for Burns, his second DNF in the Asia Pacific Championship. And after starting out with 4 factory cars, the Subarus were now down to just 1. But at least that one was in front, closely followed by Didier Uriel, second fastest on the stage, 1 minute 35 behind McRae. Next, Juha Karkinen, 15 seconds down on the leader, but still in the top 3. Armin Schwarz had moved up to 4th on this stage, thanks mainly due to a spin by Ari Vartanen, and he was 5 seconds slower than his teammate Ericsson in 6th. So after problems with power steering and then the spin, Vartanen had dropped back to 5th, 6.5 minutes off the pace. Joe McAndrew, 6th fastest on the stage, now 7th overall and still the leading Kiwi. Fujimoto leading the Japanese drivers, 8th overall, while Ordinsky had the Group N challenge under control. Closely followed by the Kiwi Rhys Jones, car number 28, and car number 25, Ino, the Japanese driver. While Michael Liu was also right on their bumper, 3rd fastest on the stage and trying to make up lost time. But one man who had plenty of time was Colin McRae on special stage 16. He had now extended that lead to 2 minutes 16 after tying for the fastest stage time with the Ford Escort of Ari Vartanen. And Vartanen was on the charge and put together a string of 4 stage wins in a row after tying with McRae. He beat McRae by 5 seconds on special stage 17. He beat Karkinen by 7 seconds on special stage 18 and Karkinen again by just 1 second on special stage 19. He was now up to 4th overall, 26 seconds behind Schwartz and catching fast. But one guy who was going backwards fast, Didier Auriol. He was the big loser at this stage of the rally, slipping from 2nd place to out of the top 5. First of all, he had gearbox problems, and then a small crash caused a loss of valuable time. It was turning out to be a disappointing day for Didier.
Just a little mistake in the right corner, tighten, and it's really mad, and I go straight. Not a long way, but just the two wheel on the front a little down, and I can't come back in on the reverse. And so I don't know, but about 2 minutes, I don't know, about 2 minutes, a long time.
And if Colin McRae wasn't confident before, well, after checking out Didier Auriol's crash on a video courtesy of a Japanese competitor, the Scot was more than happy with the situation. His nearest rival in the pits with all sorts of problems. Auriol made up time on the next stage, but was now well and truly on the slide. 3rd place, going backwards.
So far, Didier, how was it?
No, very bad.
Problem?
Yeah.
What's the problem, Didier?
Il n'y a pas du tout d'huile. Le moteur n'avance plus. Le moteur n'avance plus. The engine don't work at all.
No power? What,
No,
turbo?
no, I don't know. No power at all.
Okay, thank you.
And Didier's bad luck was a change of good luck for Ari Vatanen. He was now up to 4th overall and feeling more like it in the Ford as he turned it on for the fans.
How was the stage, Ari?
Good. Nice.
You enjoying it now?
Yeah, very much so. Now it's all like it should have been right from the beginning.
So with Ari Vatanen now in the racing groove, the battle was on for 3rd and 4th. Just 26 seconds in front of him, the German Armin Schwartz in the Mitsubishi Lancer. But he was unhappy, complaining about the wrong choice of tyres. In fact, he was just simply complaining about a complete lack of grip.
Not good. Problem with the car?
We have no grip at all.
No grip. Is that the wrong tyres, do you think?
I don't know. We don't have anything else.
Back on the road and enjoying himself. Ari Vatanen's famous for turning on some great drives in the Rally of New Zealand. 1977 in the Ford Escort. He lost time before putting in the drive of the rally to eventually finish 2nd. Now he was on the case again in a car which doesn't seem to have the same power or performance as the leading Subarus and Toyotas. Mr. Consistency, Juha Karkinen, running 2nd or 3rd for most of the stage times throughout the day. And amongst all the dramas, it's easy to forget just how good the other Finn in the field really is. The Alain Prost of the World Rally Championship. He won stages 21 and 22 and moved into 2nd place overall, 2 minutes behind McRae, but struggling to close the gap. And as the day wore on, Armin Schwartz was now starting to get better wear out of his tyres, really improving his stage times. Equal fastest on special stage 22, 2nd fastest on special stage 20. And he was the 3rd fastest on special stage 17. Now holding off the challenge and still in 3rd place, 5 minutes 41 behind McRae. His teammate Kenneth Eriksson hardly moved out of the top 6 all day, both for stage times or overall classification. If Didier Auriol thought his troubles were over after the small off and the gearbox problems, the Frenchman was horribly mistaken. Suddenly flames were bursting out of the back of the Toyota Celica. He was having traction problems now. In fact, he'd lost 4-wheel drive and was racing on rear-wheel drive. he dropped back to 6th place overall, 11 minutes, 36 seconds behind Colin McRae. Compared to Oriel, just check out the difference in speed by the stage winner, Ari Vatanen. And even his teammate, Juha Karkinen. Now that's what a Toyota should look like. Special stage 20, Colin McRae takes the stage win. Schwartz 8 seconds behind, second fastest, now getting to grips with the Lancer. And for the country spectators, mostly farmers, Rokuroa was the best place to check out the sights and sounds of the world's fastest rally drivers in their high-tech, high-powered four-wheel drive Flyers. Eriksson tied for the 4th fastest on the stage with Ari Vatanen, the Swede now up to 5th overall. The Finn, well, he was just turning it on for the spectators. But for Didier Uriel, well, the end of day 2 just couldn't come fast enough. At least at the end of the leg, he can change the gearbox, service the Celica, and get set for the run home to the finish tomorrow on day 3. Group N battle was led by the Australian Ed Ordinsky, 1st overall in Group N, 10th on the road. Closely followed by him, the Kiwi Rhys Jones, 3 minutes behind, 2nd in Group N, 11th overall. And no, the Japanese driver had now tied for a share of 2nd place with Jones. New Zealand driver Stu Warren from the South Island making the most of a $10,000 scholarship grant to drive in the rally. Eventually finished 18th overall. And the husband and wife team, David and Jane Black, finished 27th overall, 1st in the two-wheel drive classification in front of the 2 strong Daihatsus. Now this corner proved to be a real problem for some of the drivers. An agricultural approach was taken by some. While others just completely overshot or missed it. Mayumi Nagoshi, 34th overall, leading the Ladies' Cup in the Subaru. 3.5 minutes in front of the New Zealand driver Vanessa Slee in the underpowered Subaru Vivio, which had also suffered a loss of 4-wheel drive. And as night fell on day 2, it was Colin McRae in cruise control. Armin Schwartz won the stage, equal with Juha Karkinen. So was Didier Uriel. Cofton spotted his way back to the overnight halt in Rotorua. At the end of day 2, Colin McRae was well in control of the rally. He had a lead of 2 minutes and 9 seconds over Juha Karkinen. Armin Schwartz 3rd, 5:41 behind. Vatanen now just 34 seconds behind in 4th. The big loser, Oriel, back to 6th, 11:36 off the pace. McAndrew, the leading Kiwi, in 7th. Ordinsky leading Group N, rounding out the top 10. Day 3, 8 special stages around the forestry roads north and south of Auckland. It was the big finish after 3 hard days behind the wheel. Off to a foggy start. First up, special stage 23 and 24 at Maramarua. And while it was a foggy start, nothing could cloud the performance of Colin McRae. 2 minutes in front, heading for victory. Ari Vartanen's team changed a broken cam belt on the roadside in just 16 minutes. And now he was on the charge. Armin Schwartz trying to hold off the challenge from Ford and stay in third place for Mitsubishi. Joe McAndrew, the leading Kiwi, crashed out of Maramarua a couple of years ago. Now he was determined not to make it. Maramarua revisited, 7th overall, and he was going to stay there. Totra Park revisited. Schwartz lets go with a real ripper in the Mitsubishi Lancer, determined to hold off that challenge from Ari Rothmans as the two battled for 4th and 3rd, especially after Rothmans won the first stage of the day.
Taking this right-hand bend below the motor carpentry.
Oh, he is going for it.
So far in the World Championship events he's done this year, he's not been outside the top 3 in all the rallies he's finished.
He was second fastest through Maramarua, 9:36 this morning, and that was 11 seconds slower than Ari Rothmans. So Rothmans took a little bit of time out of his third spot there. So Schwartz knows he's got a battle on his hands to protect number 3. Neat and tidy down the dipper.
It's been a good performance from the Rally Art team. I think they've come here and they've still got both cars running.
Good package for the future. Down to the line, 1:23.7, the same winning time as Colin McRae on Friday. So Schwartz evens up the battle against the flying Ford of Ari Rothmans. In the battle of Group N, Ordinsky still had his 3-minute lead and up there in the top 10. Rhys Jones, though, lost 4 seconds in the battle for 3rd spot. That's because the Japanese driver Teshigawa beat Jones by just 6 seconds on the previous stage at Maramarua and had now taken over 3rd in that place for Group N honours. And trying to make up lost time, Michael Liu, the Canadian driver, really starting to push it, perhaps too much.
He's got a problem here.
Michael Liu, he's got far too excited this time. And he's hit the fence and taken it out. And by this stage, Colin McRae was simply toying with the opposition as the 46 survivors out of the field of 78 starters headed for the finish. With 12 stage wins out of the 22 in the first 2 days, McRae wrapped up stage win number 13 on day 3, a 2-minute cruise to victory. Under pressure to reach the finish, and with 3 of his teammates out, McRae was now dancing in the bumps. Karkinen had no reply to the speed of the Subaru or the Flying Scotsman. Very quick on the straight roads, the Toyota struggled to keep up with the Subaru in the tight corners. And the rumour is the new Celica will now be debuted at Karkinen's home rally, the Thousand Lakes Rally of Finland, to try and answer Subaru's newfound advantage. But still, second place would keep Toyota in front of the Manufacturers' Championship and move Juha into second equal with Carlos Sainz in the Drivers' Championship. A change of tyres overnight, and now Schwartz was determined to hold on to 3rd. If day 2 was a struggle, day 3 was a flyer. He was really starting to get to grips with the Lancer, winning stages 25 and 26 at Totra Park and Kiwitahi. So the challenge was on. All or nothing for Ari Rothmans, but neither he or his co-driver, Fabricia Pons, knew what lay ahead.
You all right?
No, just I don't know. Maybe not concentrating on what, I don't know what it was to that. I didn't really realize this left-hand corner here. Left-hand corner, yeah.
So as Rothmans stood dazed beside the road, Ericsson moved up to 4th place overall. Didier Uriel may have been scratching his head at that stage, but by the end of this stage he would be up to 5th place overall, and that would be good enough to give him the lead in the Drivers' Championship and would make up for his day of difficulty on day 2. And as Didier raced past, Rothmans suddenly remembered the reason for the crash, a mistake in his pace notes.
When I think about it, I made a mistake on notes. I changed a note from last year just to keep on the right-hand side of the corner and to go straight on, but in fact I should have kept it that you have to actually turn right over. So I came straight into this hump. So it was my mistake making notes to make it too straight. In fact, there is clearly a right-hand corner, which took me completely in the wrong place, and then I went a straight line.
Confident week from Wellington's Joe McAndrew, still the leading Kiwi on the road, now running 6th overall. He'd brought the ex-Pro Drive legacy from the Works team last year and was determined to make the most of his money. Seventh overall and enjoying his experience, Fujimoto getting good results for the future. Brian Stokes, second Kiwi home, 8th overall, and now the leading Ford Escort with the demise of Ari Vatanen. And as the Evolution 2 bumper of the Mitsubishi Lancer disappeared into the distance, so too went the Group Air honours. Victory to Ed Olinski, the Australian, 9th overall. Second behind him and 10th overall, Ano, the Japanese driver, in another Lancer. And wrapping up the clean sweep for the Lancers with the hat-trick in Group N, Kiwi driver Rhys Jones, 3rd in Group N and 11th overall. But out in front and really starting to turn it on, there was no stopping Colin McRae. 13 wins out of 30 special stages, a comfortable 2-minute lead. He had virtually controlled the rally from day one. Back-to-back victories down under. A great performance by the Scottish driver. Meanwhile, drama in the battle to be the first Kiwi home. McAndrew had it all sewn up, 6th overall, a comfortable 6-minute lead. But then, the unexpected. He loses it going into this bridge and spins out of control. Luckily, a nice gentle parking spot. No serious damage, and he continued and held off the challenge from Fujimoto all the way to the finish to stay 6th overall. Fujimoto right behind him in 7th.
And here he comes, Colin McRae in the 555 Subaru Impreza, on his way down the hill. Stand back on the corner.
Now just moments away from reaching the finishing ramp. Colin McRae, 2 in a row in the Rothmans Rally of New Zealand. And as he pulled up at the end of 30 special stages at Riverhead Forest, his feelings, well, a mixture of relief and excitement.
We've all backed off, we're only 75% now, but it's still quite hard.
How do you feel right now?
Good, relieved.
Okay, great. Thanks, Colin.
2 minutes 14 seconds behind in second place, Juha Karkkonen.
couldn't win this time. Subaru was too fast for us, but okay, not so bad.
World Championship hope still alive for sure.
Yeah, still looks okay.
So overall, what do you think of this Rothmans rally now?
Oh, it was quite alright. The only big problem what we had was with the police, like I said to you, that it was really terrible for everybody, but otherwise not so bad.
And Armin Schwartz brings home the Mitsubishi Lancer for a good result for the Ralliart team. Third overall in his first drive in New Zealand.
I'm very pleased, yeah. Actually, after yesterday and today, I mean, the big fight with Ari, and I mean, luckily we could do some good times and survive like that. And anyway, it was the first time for me here, so I'm very happy with it.
So at the end of 3 days, another champagne performance by the world